I'm just here with my friend Jimmy. I have a splitting migraine, so please be patient with me. We are going to be talking about who he is, how he's surviving the pandemic, and this excitement he's found with a new movie, and kind of just that connection to a film that we all love when that happens. And he calls it Journey to Nomadland. So first off, I want to ask some questions, and that would be just give us a brief intro, Jimmy, and then say and then I'll ask more questions. But just a brief intro as to who you are.
Hi, I am Jimmy. I had this question that's I think a lot of people have had lately, which is how can I go on an adventure or a quest digitally? Now, I used to be a writer for a website called Umph. I did the, whenever it was October to January, the most beautiful time in the world because it's Oscar season. All the great independent and Oscar-worthy movies come out. Me and Tippy, we are hardcore about that. The last 2 years, we've seen all the Best Picture movies before they've even been nominated. That's how hardcore we are. We know our films. Only one film that we saw, I think
you're more hardcore than me in some ways.
Yeah, but you get it too. And I feel like sometimes I need to see these movies by myself, especially when Baxter was having was it Tuesdays at 5? Tuesdays all day, it was $5 for any movie.
I think so, yeah.
That's how I used to. I'd stay with a friend or a family member in Louisville, and I would go watch all these movies.
Say where you're from too, if you want.
I'm just gonna say Southern Indiana.
Oh, that's
I'm
fine.
a creature
Perfect.
of Southern Indiana.
Yes.
I feel like I belong in New Albany, Indiana, but I live a little further north of that. But I'm definitely a Kentuckiana, Ohio Valley person. So I have this question about how can I go on a quest or this digital journey, and how can I incorporate that with the Oscars or all these beautiful films that are coming out. Now that I no longer write for Umph, the site that was up for 10 years, it started in 2010, and then I discontinued it in 2020 in June.
Did you write movie reviews when we were in college too?
Yes. And these interviews I would get, or the free screeners I would get, they started with the movie Revolutionary Road. I was sent that screener, and then
Quick sidebar. I just want to say we're in a coffee shop. We ourselves have had masks on. We are social distancing. We totally support that, and not wearing masks during this interview. But if anyone gets within 6 feet of us, we will be putting our masks on. So I just want to pro mask. All right, cool. Go ahead, Jimmy.
So if anyone were to get near us, I'll put this on. But we are so far away from everyone, and
I'm just saying, we're not anti-maskers.
so we have our masks.
Yes,
all right.
correct.
Totally.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So now that Umph is no longer around, and I don't have credentials, the the TIFF, Sundance Film Festival, and the New York Film Festivals all were done digitally this year. So you had to pay like $75, and you had to have credentials to be able to review these films. And I couldn't do it. So I saw the teaser for Nomadland, starring Frances McDormand, directed by the wonderful, she's kind of new to the scene, although she has two of the most beautiful films you'll ever see. Her name's Chloe Zhao. She went to the Pine Ridge Native American Reservation. Am I saying that right? Just American Indian Reservation. And she films two of the best films I think I've ever seen. One is called The Rider. You have to see it right away. One's called Songs My Brothers Taught Me. And it's Terrence Malick with more focus. It's Terrence Malick with a script. That's how I feel about Chloe Zhao. Walking. And that's the trailer for the film that has got everyone so excited. So, being that this is a pandemic and we can't go to the movie theaters down here, and I won't be able to see this movie till December 4th, usually there's more interaction, there's seeing more movies, there's all this stuff that goes on, and I don't want this movie to fizzle away. I want to be on this journey. I want to express how I feel when I read the book, when I finally do. I have it, but I got it from the library, it's pandemic time. Didn't want to pay the $22. Sorry. It's really wild though because
supporting the library is important.
Yeah.
And let me just say, how do you feel surviving this pandemic on a personal level.
Well,
Like,
what's wild, back to the book that they had to borrow from another library came from Avon. So this book came from like 2 hours away. It's wild that it had to make like a adventure to come to me.
It had to have a journey to you.
Now you were asking about like getting through this. Well, if you don't have a good support base of friends and family, you have plenty of opportunity to go out and find that. You need that right now. Especially right now, I'm doing this journey digitally. There's not going to be a trip to Nevada. I'm not going to be able to go to Empire, Nevada. I can't afford that, and plus, it's not safe to do that anyways. And as of this video, the country is in horrible shape, especially out in that way, out in the Mountain West, out in those the South Dakota, North Dakota, where these films were shot.
Just a second. I'm going to try to turn on question. Okay. All right, I turned on questions, so if anyone joins and has questions, they can ask a question.
Have you ever just been so drawn to something artistic, a book, a movement, a movie, and because nothing else is going on, and because of COVID, there's not a lot, it's not just on my end that stuff isn't going on, it's the reviewers, it's the people that would be hyping this film, that would be out in theaters in December, that we might not see till who knows when with the pandemic. It's getting worse. Kentucky is where I go to watch the movies, and they're in these things called red zones right now. So I have to go on this journey to Nomadland. My website's almost done. Tippy's seen it. She's approved a little bit, I think.
And you can comment on this live, and I'll save this interview, and you can comment the link to it so people can see that
awesome.
once it's ready.
And if you all have any suggestions for my journey to Nomadland, because I'm only going to watch movie reviews and interviews with the cast and the director once a week. I can't do it every single day, or the journey would be too much.
I think, so the first question was like, explain who you are and how you're surviving the pandemic. And I can also say that, excuse me.
Well, we're surviving because we, unlike most people, have followed science, and we did what our scientists have told us to do.
And so have our families, thank God.
It's not like all these people walking around without masks or social distancing were told to do this. Well, they were kind of told to do this, and we know who told them. But state and locally, we all have laws. The governors, you can't have more than 50 people. We just had a cancel event. I won't say what the event was. We were both looking forward to it beyond belief. I've been looking forward to it since September. And I'm not trying to bring you all down.
And it wasn't even a large event either.
So my journey to Nomadland is how I'm getting through this pandemic. I love independent film. I when people talk about a film that makes them cry or makes them think, I'm going to go see that movie as soon as I have $11. Or like I said, when we would go, Louisville has this wonderful thing during the fall. Some movies are only $5 all day long. That's very inexpensive in 2020 or 2019 even. And then we would go, Tippy and I have been when they have the marathons of the movies that have been nominated. And those are very inexpensive. But for some reason, the last 2 years, we have been on it because a lot of the movies, let's just admit, in 2019 were on Netflix.
And also 2019, I feel like was one of the best years for films we've had in a long time.
I mean, think about this. Marriage Story was on Netflix. Roma was on Netflix. The new... the guy who does Tippy, what's his name?
Well, and also The Lighthouse, which I don't know.
The Lighthouse.
That was on Amazon Prime.
All these streaming sites had all these. But what's the guy that made the movie Casino? Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
That movie with Robert De Niro was on Netflix. What was it called?
The Irishman.
The Irishman. Mm-hmm. And Netflix has been pushing hard to get a Best Picture winner. They haven't had it yet, but this year they have a lot of films that I think are really going to be. I think they're going to be in it this year. I think Netflix might win Best Picture with Hillbilly Elegy and another film called The Father.
There was a lot of controversy with that book. What did you think about it? I didn't read the book, but I heard it was kind of like...
Yeah, and I heard that it might hurt some of the actors' chances of being nominated. But we'll talk about that a little bit later, I think. We should get into that for just the topic itself. Mm-hmm. But Glenn Close, she's leading Gold Derby. If you go to goldderby.com and see the Oscar race, the experts and the users get to vote. And she is leading in the supporting actress category. So So film, independent film, Oscar award-winning film has been a part of my life for
I think
10 years.
it's been like also it's been kind of like a tie to the outside world in a way, and like connecting to. Well, I think that's why we love films.
Yeah.
Is what we relate to about them, and then also what's different and what is kind of like being able to see places that you might not be able to go to, which is like perfect and during this time right now.
And I have to tell you, on YouTube right now, I made a video. Oh wow, I made a video.
And he'll post all these links below in comments.
Yes. So I have 2 videos up. If you go on YouTube and you type in my journey to Nomadland or Chloe Zhao or the film Nomadland, you should be able to find me. I have a website. The web address is going to come up soon. I think it's going to be nomadland.info. But I haven't procured that yet. And if you're out there, please don't procure that website because I want it. But I'm going to have to wait a couple days before I can purchase it. But the website's not finished yet. And Tippy's helping me with, like, I need her visual opinion on it because I don't want to put up crap. But everything is going to stem from the website, but to the various social media like this. And I really hope that a lot of you will check this movie out, Nomadland, and join me on this journey. I don't want to do it all by myself. I think it's a movie. It's just getting way too much buzz. They're saying it's going to win Best Picture. Please join me on this journey to Nomadland. This movie, I think, will change your life. I feel like it will change my life, just like The Rider did. Her movie from 2017. Watch The Rider, please.
Do you feel
it's poetry?
Do you feel inspired by, like, do you want to take a journey in your camper eventually?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm out in the woods with the camper, miles outside this little town, and I've seen a lot of wild things in the woods that Tippy and I we have a lot of magical run-ins with little. But I think it's in one of the videos where there's like this orbiting, what do you want to call it? Like this light that's like letting off light in the woods, and I think I got it on film. I was doing a Facebook Live, and so yeah.
So you already have like a connection to the land where you live.
Yeah.
And then do you feel like maybe if you're able to take a journey, a physical journey, and once the pandemic is over and it's safe to do so, do you feel like you could then develop like a connection to the road?
Yes.
Like you do the land? Because I feel
that's a great question. Tippy and I, before a lot of this was going down, we were doing a lot of hiking trails, feeling one with nature. Cheryl Strayed's book, Wild, about her going on the trail to find herself. I felt like we were doing a lot of that, and then things just got so crazy. And then all of a sudden, all the parks were full of people without masks, and we didn't feel safe. Mm-hmm. We didn't feel safe out in the air. It was just so, you would not imagine. Oh, I thought we were being yelled at. But I just am so 40-second teaser, and if you go to my YouTube video, which is almost 15 minutes long, it has all my resume information about how I even came to this. It's getting kind of loud in here, so we probably.
Well, can we talk just a little bit more about, like, because we've talked about film and your interest in film and like your connection to the land and this connection to the road and to like the transientness of the continuation of the road, because the road is not, it's like solid, but it's also, I think the road is like a living being, is how I see it, like the spirit of the road that constantly changes.
And you have to know, people are living this lifestyle right now. They're living out of their vans. It's not about spending more, it's about having less expense. And there's a huge community. These people keep each other safe, and they kind of move with the weather. If it's too hot or it's too cold, they're driving to a place that's more comfortable. And a lot of this is happening out on the West Coast, the North,
like it goes beyond
the
Slab
Pacific
City
Northwest,
and all of that.
They're in Arizona when it's temperate enough to work at the Amazon fulfillment centers or various natural national parks. The national parks employ a lot of these people that are living out of their RV or their vans because.
And let me just interject. I didn't know this until recently, but there's a website for the national parks, and you can purchase really cute like t-shirts and hoodies and all kinds of things, and a lot of the money that goes to your purchase or from your purchase goes to support the parks. So you can get a beautiful little trinket or a t-shirt or a wearable art or a tumbler or whatever, and that's very fashionable, and yet also be supporting the national parks. I just want to throw that in there. Sorry.
I wanted to say, in 2003 or 2004, I got out of bed and on the floor was a People magazine, and it was the Oscar special edition where I flipped to the first page of it, and it was an article about Holly Hunter. It was an article about every acting race and how the actors got to where they were, what they've been nominated for previously. I read the whole thing. Holly Hunter was the first actress. There was another actress from the movie House of Sand and Fog. After I read that, I became kind of a little bit a movie Oscarologist, Oscar addict person. But the next year in 2005, when Brokeback Mountain came out and all the other movies that came out that year, and then that's when I became an official Oscar addict.
Someone joined finally. Alabrijes, New York. Hello.
Oh, hello. Welcome. I hope you watched this from the beginning too, because right now it probably doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's all right.
But so 2005 is when it hit me, and I had to know. Everyone just thinks that the Oscars are the only, award-worthy thing. There's all these film festivals. There's all these award shows. I didn't know anything about the Sundance Film Festival. I didn't know about the New York or the Tribeca. And 2005 was really when it hit me real hard. And then finally, 5 years later, I got a job writing for a website, doing movie reviews, getting the screeners, doing phone interviews with some of the people. And
you were in a movie in Louisville.
Yes, it was one of the coolest experiences when the newspaper said they needed actors for this movie. Of course, Louisville horse racing. It was a movie about a young man. It's called Sweet William in South Korea, where it was actually released like a full.
Seriously,
yes.
And then I ended up living there. If only I could have watched it.
It's really weird how South Korea or Asia in general takes a lot of these movies that, like, our most famous actor in this movie was Frank Langella, who no one really knew the only people that knew who he was knew him from his Dracula days from way back. He was nominated for an Oscar like a couple years after this movie for Frost Nixon. So this Academy Award nominated actor was in the movie that I was an extra in. There was a couple other big names. The director was the director of the show Oz that was on about the prison system. And it was wild, it was fun, it was everything that I expected. I learned a lot. Acting is hard. It's a waiting game. I feel so sorry. It's a waiting game. It's lighting, hours and hours to get maybe like 2 seconds, 3 seconds worth of film they can actually use.
You know what I read in Debbie Reynolds? I read Debbie Reynolds' book. This is going to be the nerdiest video, by the way.
I love it. I'm so down for this.
Yes. So I read, last year I read Debbie Reynolds' book and Carrie Fisher's book. And Debbie Reynolds said that when she started, it was around the same time that like Frank Sinatra was in movies still and all of that. And she said they had to be like on call a certain number of hours every week. So if there wasn't like, a leading role, like they had to practice singing or whatever, then they would have to come in and just clean or do bit parts or do whatever was available, whatever work needed done. And she said she remembered coming in at 3:00 in the morning and Frank Sinatra was sweeping the floor and cleaning, and he was like super world famous at that time.
Don't you sometimes feel
I love it.
stifled or done wrong by the fact that we didn't live during the time of the studio system, the system of where the picture houses, the movie houses totally owned contracts of people. I mean, they were just putting. I think some of the best movies came out of that. The
Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte is one of my favorites. I meant to say Baby Jane, but that one too. I love all the Betty Davis horror movies.
But they were either, what were the big film houses back then? What did they?
Like Warner Brothers.
The studio system. There's Warner Brothers, Fox.
MGM.
MGM was a big one. I think they were the ones who had Wizard of Oz, Judy Garland.
Gone with the Wind, too. Also came out the same year, by the way. Can you imagine? 1939.
to not know.
I'm way more of a nerd than I realized
Well,
until right this moment.
the studio system, it was so well. They protected their actors, and I mean, we know from
Well,
Hitchcock.
sort of though, but in some ways they didn't because they pumped them full of drugs. Like
Exactly.
Judy Garland, they made her take Dexedrine the whole time she was playing the part of whatever, and then that ended up that addiction followed her throughout her
and
entire life.
they call it vitamins. They called it a vitamin boost back then.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking of like Hitchcock, how he had Tippi Hedren's contract. She filmed nothing. She probably would have became a huge star, but he kept because
My
of
friend
the
from Ireland is joining.
Hi Ireland. We love you.
Yes, we wish we were there.
Yeah, I really do wish we were in Ireland right now.
We're talking about movies, by the way.
Where are you from in Ireland? Because I want to go to the county. Is it County Galway? Is that what it's called? Where Tori Amos' house is at on the river. Anyhow, going back to the studio system thing, Hitchcock wouldn't. If he would have let Tippi Hedren out of her contract, she would have gotten more movie roles. But it was that control. So the studio system.
I think he was actually like a predator in some ways. Sexually.
Well, she still got paid, but she would have probably had
But
much
I mean,
more
didn't he
stardom.
like obsess over her, and she had to get like restraining orders or something?
Yeah. I mean, they made a movie about that. It's with.
By the way, everyone, this is how we talk.
Yeah.
I don't know even what topic we're on.
The topic is my journey to Nomadland.
Yes.
But we're gonna end that pretty soon. But I believe the movie, it was called The Girl, and it had, who was the British actress who was dating Jude Law for a little while? She was in the movie Factory Girl.
Selena Miller.
Huh?
Selena Miller.
Yeah, Sienna Miller. She was She played Tippi Hedren's character in the movie The Girl, which is the story of the filming of The Birds, and how. And she was in another movie. It started with an M, where she's like walking with a suitcase. Madge, was it called Madge? You know what I'm talking about, actually.
Yeah.
Margaret or.
She seems like a really approachable person.
And her daughter was Melanie Griffith, right?
Tippy's daughter, yeah.
Yeah, Tippi Hedren.
And then her daughter is Dakota Johnson.
Oh, wow. And then, what was Jamie Lee Curtis's mom's name who did Psycho?
Hold on a second.
Lee, something. It was Lee, right?
Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh. So,
Who married Tony Curtis.
Yes. So, Jamie Lee.
Nerd alert.
I saw a photo of.
Just kidding.
Of Jamie Lee and Melanie Griffith. They were hugging because it was a picture about their parents being scream queens, and how Jamie Lee Curtis has taken Scream Queen to a whole nother level. Is there anything else you wanted to ask? We've done a fairly long
We've talked about everything movie-wise.
But if you want to know more about the journey to Nomadland, you can. The website will be up soon. My videos are on YouTube.
Yes, and he will comment all the links to that below for anyone that watches. The algorithms totally shut me out. Not very many people have joined, which whatever. I need to just start another Instagram and start all over.
Yeah, I almost thought I would start another Instagram just solely on this journey to Nomadland, and but my goodness, if
just hashtag journey to Nomadland.
I'm just gonna.
But also, I wanted to suggest something to you with reading. I don't remember the name of the book, and I should have realized that before suggesting. But it's who is the lady that wrote the Poisonwood Bible?
I'm gonna feel awful now. She wrote that. She wrote
everything.
She wrote Flight
Animal.
Behavior.
It's something animal.
Barbara Kingsolver, right?
But the book is called.
I love her book Flight Behavior. By the way, it's one of my favorite books ever.
This book I think has the word animal in the title, but it has cacti and a desert scene on the cover of the book.
Her books are so good.
It's kind of about. It goes in line with everything you're talking about. I'll explain why maybe after, because no one's even watching, so maybe we could just end it. But anyway, read everything, Barbara Kingsolver.
Yes, read Flight Behavior. It's such a beautiful story, and it's current. It's of the time.
Also, if you get this far in the video and you would like to maybe I'm gonna start a series of conversation videos, I think, and I'm interviewing, or I'm this wasn't really an interview, it was more just chatting, but
Coffee house chat.
Yes. But I'm quarantining with...
And socially distant.
Yes. But with several people that are... that I really trust. So if you would like to join in and maybe be in a conversation video and you live around here locally, or you'd like to do it remotely, just let me know, because I love connecting, and we have to connect in every way we can in the middle
Absolutely.
of the pandemic. So before we get off here, for Jimmy and I also have a book club, and this is the book that we are
Yes.
reading.
And it's one of Anne Rice's.
We're almost to the end,
Yeah.
but if you want to join us, by all means.
It's a fast read for Anne Rice because her books are are very long, and this is only 400 pages, and you totally have enough time to read this before Halloween. And we're going to have a Halloween discussion.
Yes.
And we're also maybe going to read a couple of our own little short Halloween stories that we might write. I don't know, but I'm very excited about it. I love this book.
Anything to stay connected and engaged in the middle of a pandemic. By the way, we're not denying that it's a pandemic. We're actually aware of humanity and facts in real life.
And listening to the scientists and the people that want us to.
And we've also had
Get through this.
we also have had medical emergencies, and we know that just because somebody might be super healthy doesn't mean that they might have an emergency.
It's a thin line between health and non-health.
So being aware of that is not a weakness, it's a power, in fact. So compassion is everything. So with that, we say be kind, be compassionate,
Rewind.
and we'll chat soon.
All right, bye everyone.